aspects of journalism, but that has nothing to do with my great love for the profession. I'm disillusioned with the way the profession today functions. For example, just the other day I heard that a guest from one of the political parties was asked to leave a studio because that channel said we will not have the Aam Aadmi Party live in a discussion. It left me disillusioned about the state of my profession. I think the intolerance of politicians leaves me disillusioned. That today, if you criticize someone, then you're an enemy of that person. You're not supposed to ask questions. We are supposed to be either cheerleaders or we are supposed to demonize someone. So either we become Modi Bhaks or we are supposed to be Modi critics. We are supposed to be Mamta Chelas, or what do you call, whatever you say it in Bengali.
No, you carry on.
Whatever is the word.
But Rajdeep, 2015 for you personally is this is my understanding after reading your book and getting a sense, and I haven't spoken to you about this, but 2015 is your bridge here. Your bridge between being a journalist and exploring new ventures and new avenues. Do give us some breaking news today.
It certainly is not becoming a politician, because to be a politician you have to have a thick skin, and I don't have a thick skin.
Mm-hmm.
To be a politician, you've got to be someone who's got to constantly be able to get away saying something that he or she doesn't believe in all the time. I mean, let's be honest. Every time you come on TV, I get the sense that you don't believe a lot of what you're saying.
You're talking about me?
Yeah. I mean,
no. Rajdeep, that's not true.
And you end up
That's not true.
You end up defending.
No. That's not true. That's not true. Rajdeep, that's not true.
You end up defending the
No, not at all. This is not true, Rajdeep. This is not true. But
so
I'm not going to
believe everything that you say on TV?
I'll never go on television. See, you're asking me a question now. I will not go on television. I'll duck. But if you're on television, yes, you better believe in what you say. Otherwise, you send somebody else to bat. Okay. You have some questions for Rajdeep? Yeah, okay. Just 1 second. Yeah, you just got to put up your hand and give you a microphone. And I'm editing the questions not for any other reason, because if something is asked, then we'll say, it's asked, that kind of thing. The lady in the 5th or the 6th row. If the organizers are generous and not doing kanjusi, then we can give one prize for the best question. Mala? Did you say no? Or
yeah, she said no.
She said no. Okay.
Sir, you've made some predictions a few minutes ago. On one hand, with all the investigations in Bengal and a few arrests.
Ask a question. Don't give us a story.
Right. And Mr. Amit Shah's successful rally a few months ago.
Where's the question?
What shape do you think the BJP is taking in Bengal?
Okay, fine. That's your question.
He was getting worried with your question.
No. No issue. You ask whatever question you want.
Look, my own sense, I must confess, on this one, I still think that the BJP is still a couple of elections away from actually aspiring for power in Bengal, if at all. And I do believe that there is, while in typical Bengali style you like hyperbole, and it's nice to have a nice fight between the BJP and Trinamool Congress. My own sense is that the BJP is simply going to grow in terms of percentages, in terms of popular vote, particularly in urban Bengal. I'm not yet sure that the BJP, frankly, is in position to actually aspire for power in Bengal. But I think and I say it in the book, in my epilogue, one of the areas where the BJP will grow is Bengal. And to a large extent, the Trinamool Congress must take responsibility for that. If you practice the politics of what will be seen after a while as sort of rather brazen appeasement, it will have a backlash. And I think, this is not
See, Rajdeep, you're my guest today, so I'm very polite. But go ahead.
No, but that's...
And I'm not here as a Trinamool Congress spokesperson.
No, that's my analysis. My sense is that in a state where if you start, you've got to today be much more conscious that India, whether it's Bengal or any part, is becoming aspirational. So if you start playing your politics purely in terms of this vote bank and the other vote bank, it has a backlash. Mulayam Singh faced it in Uttar Pradesh in the 2014 elections, and maybe in Bengal to some extent, to a lesser extent possibly, the Trinamool Congress will also face it.
Okay.
And I also don't think Kolkata is Bengal. So to be fair, while in Kolkata there is every reason to
So
believe that.
Rajdeep, I think we'll wait for March, April. The 92 municipalities are going to the polls. So March, April will give us a good sense. And we can give a good-
You'll sweep Kolkata? You'll sweep all those elections?
Out of 92, you're asking me to make a prediction.
Yeah.
Right? We'll be disappointed if we get less than 70 of those municipalities. Okay?
Okay.
Now, no, in all humility. Rajdeep, tell me, I'm sure lots of us who are spend too much time on the internet, you didn't mention it in your book because your book was published. What was your experience outside Madison Square Garden? I mean, that was... No,
Sure.
I mean, tell us, because we've heard different versions, and sometimes my wife lives in New York, so we also had a different NRI version of it, which was completed. Share with us.
No, I wish it had happened before the book was out, so I could have sold more copies by having a separate chapter.
I think it helped your book, but...
It might have.
Yeah,
but
it
look, let me be very honest. And it stems from a point I made earlier. I think there is a growing intolerance, not just in our political class, but in our society today. People don't like tough questions being asked. You mentioned the Verma lecture. I was not going to go there and heckle the finance minister, for God's sake. However, I was with a couple of lawyers, and we were just looking at the irony of it, that Justice Verma, who was a former Chief Justice 12 years ago, when he was the head of the National Human Rights Commission, had used some very harsh language against the then Gujarat government. And one of the lawyers actually pointed out that maybe this question should be raised to the finance minister. Do they now share their views about Justice Verma that they felt about him 12 years ago when the BJP was very critical of Justice Verma? So that's all that happened there.
Madison.
Coming back to Madison Square Gardens, it's a bit similar. Questions were asked. I think I have every right as a journalist to ask questions. I was not there as a cheerleader of Narendra Modi. I was not there as a critic of Narendra Modi. I was there to look at the interesting aspect. Here is the Prime Minister coming to New York, to a country which denied him a visa for 10 years, for whatever reason, for 12 years. How were we to perceive Mr. Modi 12 years later with the audience fawning around him? And my worry is that just as there are Modi Bhaks in this country, the NRI looks at him as an avatar of Vishnu. I mean, when you look at the eyes, the way people look at Mr. Modi, they look at him as if no questions can be asked to him. And I was trying to ask questions. Some of them didn't like it, started hooting, which I could live with. Then some of them got abusive, which up to a point I could live with. And then they got personal in their abuse. And I must confess, when one of them used the word news trader, a word which our Prime Minister uses. And I have a lot of, I accept the verdict of the people of India. I may not necessarily always respect it. I accept it. And I think we should all accept it. I have never understood why the Prime Minister uses the word news trader for those journalists who ask him tough questions. Because to me, the word news trader is akin to being called a prostitute. And frankly, if the Prime Minister used that word to me, and in any public gathering, I would have the same response and tell the Prime Minister, sorry sir, I do not accept being called a news trader by you, and you must take back those words. In the same breath, when someone used that word news trader outside Madison Square Gardens, I must confess, on the back of someone having abused my kids and saying, why don't they go to Pakistan and live, why don't all of you go to Pakistan and live there? Something in me snapped. I shouldn't have snapped. I called the person an asshole. And shouldn't have done that. I didn't realize that in the age of, even if the camera is switched off, there's something else which is always on, which is someone's mobile or whatever. And I then sort of did the indefensible, which is sort of reached out to sort of hold that guy. And frankly, a couple of them had, which you don't see on camera, unfortunately, had tried to kick me from behind while I was actually on air. And unfortunately, the camera hasn't caught that because this was, we'd switched off the camera, and a couple of them who are hooting us were actually, just sort of kicking from behind and then running away.
See, Rajdeep.
So my limited point is this, that yes, I think I was out of line in trying to call someone an asshole. I should have been conscious of my responsibilities in public life. I should have been conscious before I went and held someone. But I asked people, I didn't ask those guys to come there and abuse and hoot and behave in a manner which I don't think does any great credit to, to being a citizen of the United States, and then sort of having this what I call long distance nationalism. I mean, it amuses me constantly that someone who lives in Texas believes he's far more nationalist than me who lives in this country, and will sort of give me a long lecture about what is wrong with India, and then proceed to tell me why Narendra Modi is going to solve all problems. I'll be the happiest person if Mr. Modi succeeds. I would love to see Mr. Modi succeed as Prime Minister. I don't think anyone has the right, while I'm performing a professional duty at Madison Square Garden, which I was, to hoot and abuse me and my family. I think that's out of line, and that comes again from the intolerance which is growing in our society. I think we have become far more intolerant of any form of mild criticism. Forget about sharp criticism. And everybody now has to be either anti-Modi or pro-Modi, anti-Mamta or pro-Mamta. Sorry to bring Mamta back. But that's the nature of the world. Today, if I ask Mamta a tough question, she will probably ask me to leave the room. Mr. Modi won't even allow me to enter the room. So that's another matter. And it's a sad statement of where we are. I have no sympathy for the Congress party, and this book is very critical of the Congress party. But I will say this, out of all the political parties, relatively speaking, Congress is the most tolerant of criticism. No one has been more abused, frankly, than the Congress party in UPA 2. Every night, whether it was Ornav, whether it was anyone, we went for that poor Manmohan Singh. And he was this poor silent, it was a bechara Manmohan. And I never got a call from the Congress party in all those years to say, don't show this. Never. The fact is, and I know journalists are already getting calls from people who will not approve of any criticism of the ruling party. So, times have changed. There are a lot of strengths that the BJP has. Tolerance is not among them.
See, Rajdeep,
and ironically, many of the BJP leaders who today tell journalists this and that were the same BJP leaders who, to their great credit, stood up during the emergency and went to jail for media freedom.
See, Rajdeep, see what a good anchor I was. I gave you a question and I gave you 4.5 minutes of monologue. You guys don't do this to us on television. You had 4.5 minutes of giving us your story.
Because on television we have 10 guests, so we only give you 10 seconds at a time.
Rajdeep, let's take a break from questioning. Do you want to read something from your book just to, set the mood, and then we'll get back to...
yeah, I will. And this is the little bit on Mamta, since we are in Bengal. And I must reflect on this. I have a lot of admiration at one level for Mamta Banerjee. I think she's done remarkably she fought the left. The Congress never fought it. Let's be, the Congress sat in drawing rooms, including the gentleman who's now the President of India. The fact is that they never really fought the left. They only wanted the benefits of fighting the left. But I'm going to, there's another side to Mamta, which Derek probably knows even better than I do, since he has to deal with her every day. But I only deal with her once in a while. But this was an interesting story that I have. A year before, I had an even more bizarre experience when we chose Mamta as the CNN-IBN Politician of the Year for her stunning achievement in dismantling the left citadel in Bengal. Just a day before the function, Mamta rang me up to say that she would not attend it. I will not share a stage with Anna Hazare, she said emphatically. Anna had been chosen as the Indian of the Year for being the mascot of the anti-corruption movement. I pleaded with Mamta and promised her we would give away her award first so that she wouldn't have to encounter Anna. She relented. The next evening, she entered the Taj Palace Darbar Hall with a large contingent of Trinamool MPs. You weren't there, Derek. She seemed happy. Dinesh Trivedi was, who we don't know whether he'll remain with the Trinamool for much longer.
Rajdeep, that is factually incorrect. There wasn't a large contingent of MPs, but carry on.
Okay.
That's a little bit of fiction in the faction.
Okay, there were a few. She seemed happy at all the attention being showered on her. We had tried to keep Anna away from her in a room next to the hall, but couldn't hold him there for long. The moment Anna entered and their paths crossed, Mamta blew a fuse. You have not kept your promise, Rajdeep. I am leaving, she hollered. Dressed in my band gala, I ran after her right across the lobby of the 5-star hotel, pleading with her to come back. Finally, as she was driving off in her blue Maruti at the gate, I almost physically pulled her out. With a little help from Trinamool MP Dinesh Trivedi, we escorted her back to the award ceremony. She received the award, gave a brief speech, smiled for the cameras and left. I don't think the Taj lobby has ever seen a scene quite like that. Ironically, in February 2014, Mamta and Anna addressed a press conference together, where Anna promised to support the Trinamool leader in the general elections. She's an honest politician. I like her simplicity, gushed Anna.
You can read that line
Anna
again. You can read that line again. The last one. Yeah. Of course. Squeaky clean. Squeaky clean.
No, so says Anna Hazare, not me.
No. You have said in your book. Huh?
Okay, she's an honest politician. I like her simplicity, gushed Anna. Anna ji is like a father figure to us, Mamta said with equal feeling. Obviously, Taj Palace, December 2011, had been forgotten. So, you know,
No, but Rajdeep, this is very interesting. This is fantastic that you mentioned this, because if you look at what is happening in the Delhi elections, the VK Singhs and the Kiran Bedis of the world were all stooges of you-know-who. What do you say to that?
No, it's true, but I want to know, why did Mamta reach out then to Anna Hazare? What did the same Anna Hazare, whom she didn't want to share a room with in 2011 December, suddenly